Most people know Gisele Fetterman as the wife of Senator John Fetterman, but she is so much more than that. She's an activist, an immigrant, a nonprofit founder, a volunteer firefighter, and now the author of a beautiful new book called Radical Tenderness. I wanted to know how she sees the world, how she manages to stay kind in a political climate that seems to reward cruelty, and how she's managing to raise kids on top of everything else. This is Gisele's first on-camera interview for her book tour, and I'm incredibly grateful that she trusted me enough to sit down for it. We talked about everything: what it was like to come to this country undocumented, her relationship with Senator Fetterman, her free store in Braddock, and why she has no interest in running for office herself. And she shared very openly how she copes with threats, rumors, and the very real dangers of public life in 2025. She even answered some questions from you, the wonderful two-way audience. If you enjoyed this interview, please hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. And if you want to join me on the Two-Way Show, you can register at twoway.tv/Meghan. I'd love to see you there. Mrs. Gisele Barreto Fetterman, thank you so much for having me in your hometown of Braddock. Welcome to Citizen McCain.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited about your new book, Radical Tenderness, The Value of Vulnerability in an Often Unkind World. I think this is a very brave book, and I think it's really needed right now. I want to get into the book, but I was given some advice a few years ago that if you want to get to know a person, ask them about their tattoos.
Oh.
And I have some visible tattoos that people always ask me about. They're a little trashy. Mine are trashy, yours are not. I just wanted to ask you about your ankle tattoo before we get started. And I think you have more than one?
I have a few little ones. I have this one, which is I Bird. It's a part of a poem by a famous Brazilian poet named Mario Quintana. And it says, it doesn't translate as beautiful, but it says, "Those who would my path deny, they will falter and I will fly." So this is the I Fly, I Bird. And I have a horseshoe. I grew up riding horses. I think they're beautiful, and I love wild horses. And I don't know, that was a very young decision, but I don't think you should regret tattoos. I think they just tell a story.
I'm not getting mine removed either, but mine are spring break in 2007. And I got this one when my brother deployed he drunkenly got tattoos right before he went to Iraq.
I think they all tell a story. Yes. I have some silly ones too.
Yes.
But those are important.
Yes. Well, I love your tattoos. And I read a really fun data point that your husband's the first senator to have a 9-inch nails tattoo.
Really? Oh,
yes.
wow.
So I like that.
That's rare.
Yes. I just want to start from the beginning of your life. You know, you're from Brazil. You were a dreamer. You came over here undocumented. Your story is so different than any other senator's wife that I've ever heard, including my mother. Respect to my mother. Can you just tell me a little bit about the experience of coming here undocumented? And, you know, you're someone who, you know, you're an immigrant, and you're someone immigrants look to for inspiration, and what that feels like to be an icon for so many people.
I think I always say being an immigrant is like living with a broken heart, because everyone you love will never be in the same place at once. I was always jealous of like those family reunion photos where they were in jeans and white T-shirts on the beach. You miss that. But I think when you're left with only hard choices to make, you make them. And my mom did not want us to live in a place that was so dangerous. She worried about our safety. She worried about getting home in one piece for us, and she was willing to try in that very difficult choice. And for me, it was a great experience, and I think it was because of perspective. Like, my mom made everything like it was a game. It was like this level of Tetris you had to get through, and if things didn't work out, then you try something else. And she always reminded us that you can always start again. So if something happened that it didn't work here, then we would go somewhere else and try it all over again. But what was important was that she tried to provide us the safety that she felt that we deserved.
You moved to Queens, and your stories are very intense and very different than I think most people in your position. I know I read that you dumpster dived and you found furniture on the street to furnish your apartment. What has stayed with you from those experiences? Because, you know, like I said, most senators' wives that I have met are like my mother. And I say that with total respect. My mother's beer heiress, you know, dresses in Chanel every day. How has that stayed with you?
I don't think I'd want anything more. Like, I love thrift shopping. I love finding something special. I don't have personal ambition to own anything grand. Like, I think I like my life to be simple. I love those experiences. I still thrift shop now. I still pass a curb full of furniture and I want to check out what's going on there. I like things that have a story, and I hate waste. I hate unnecessary waste. I think that regardless of what you've achieved financially, like there's always ways to be creative and save something from a dumpster or from a landfill that still has life to it. So for me, it was always fun. It was always an adventure.
Your mother told you to be as invisible as possible when you left the house. How were you able to do that? And does that impact you now?
So I think I like being invisible. I don't think it was like that hard for me. I am very shy and, awkward. I don't really enjoy too much attention. But I had a job, and for her, it was her way to protect us, right? If we got in trouble or were too loud or anything could have affected the life that we were beginning to build in this country that we loved so much. So I don't think it was that hard for me to try to stay invisible. I wish I was more invisible now.
You wish you were more invisible now?
Yes, I'm shy. I don't like a lot of attention. I'm uncomfortable with it. I like the work I do. I like helping people, but I don't enjoy the other stuff.
I totally understand that, because politics can be very vicious and very unkind and very intense experience. And you are arguably the most famous senator's wife in America, which has to have a lot of pressure on you. Can you fill in the time between coming here and becoming a citizen?
Sure. I arrived in Queens. We lived between Queens and New Jersey. I had a green card first. That happened when I was 19. I want to say I had my green card. And then I became a citizen about 5 years after.
What did it feel like to finally become a citizen?
Oh my God, it was amazing. It was so great. I got to speak at my ceremony. I was chosen to speak. And it was just this validation of what I knew I already was. I was very American. I always knew I was. But I had the opportunity to prove it. I felt like I just was missing that piece. And, jury duty was my dream, being called for jury duty. And I always say, I'm more American than a lot of Americans.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any American who wants to go to jury duty. But that was my dream. And I did get called for jury duty.
Recently?
Eventually, yes. But I think because I looked so happy to be there, they were like, something is wrong with her, and I didn't get chosen.
You're like, I'm excited to do this trial.
I was taking photos sent to my family in Brazil. It was very exciting.
Do immigrants come up to you and share their story with you a lot?
Mm-hmm. It happens. I also have experiences where I've had folks say things like, well, I think you're a great immigrant. My issue is with the other ones. And, those are very uncomfortable and difficult conversations. And I try to remind them that I'm just like the other ones, that, most of us are here because we just want a better opportunity and we love this country. And it's choosing something, adopting something is really beautiful. And I wish I was celebrated more.
I read a story and I was listening to another show you were on, where you talked about how sometimes when you're with your kids or you're with your husband, people don't know that you're your husband's wife. They think you're the nanny or they think you're someone else. Is that complicated for you? Does that still happen to you a lot?
It doesn't happen anymore, but
Okay.
it happened a lot earlier on. And it wasn't complicated in that, there's great honor in being a nanny or a server.
I would literally die without our nanny. Thank you so much. I could not be here right now.
Right. There's a great honor in all those jobs. I think it was wondering why the assumption was made, and also how did you feel so comfortable to say that to a complete stranger? But I think I have a face that people are comfortable saying terrible things to. I don't know. But it doesn't happen anymore. It did happen a lot earlier on.
Can I ask you about your love story?
Sure.
I love that you guys, I hope I'm not projecting too much, but I love that my generation is sort of coming into different positions of power, and I can relate a lot more, because when I was growing up, most politicians were like Newt Gingrich. And I say that with respect to Newt Gingrich, but it was just really people I couldn't relate to at all. How did you meet Senator Fetterman, and did you immediately like him?
Sure. So he was just a mayor back then. He was a newer mayor.
Of Braddock, correct?
Of Braddock. I came to visit Braddock. I wanted to learn about this community. It had been called a ghost town. A lot of folks had moved out of this area with the industrialization and mill jobs moving, and I was really curious. And I came to visit, and I really liked Braddock immediately. I think I fell in love with Braddock first.
What did you like about it?
It was just, there were so many open spaces, and, I think it told a story, and I think we all have to make places better than we find them. And I think there was so much opportunity to do that here. And I really liked topography. I would say, like, doesn't this look like Aspen? And they're like, no, it doesn't look like Aspen. But I can see beauty in most things. I thought John was good. I thought he was interesting. After the first visit, we kind of just stayed in touch, and it didn't happen. We didn't, become romantically involved until later.
Mm-hmm. What did you like about him when you started becoming romantically involved?
I saw how much he cared about this community and how he chose to be here where he could have been anywhere else, and his commitment to this town. And I thought that he was good.
On paper, you guys seem like a little bit of an odd couple. What connected you?
I like odd couples. I think
Me
we
too.
do. I remember we were checking in somewhere one time, and like no one ever assumes we're together. So they'll say, "Okay, can I help you, ma'am?" So I think that he doesn't like that, but I think it's funny when that happens. I think we both had a lot of things in common. I learned that we were both bigs through Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We became bigs around the same age, early 20s, and we both cared about places and people. And I think ultimately that was what connected us at the time.
When did you know you loved him?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe shortly after.
Mm-hmm. Are you romantic?
I don't know. I guess I can be, but maybe not very.
I'm not at all. So I forgot my anniversary last year, and it was like,
Yeah. I'm very bad with dates, and just I think concept of time, that's not my strong suit. Like something could have happened 6 months or 6 years ago, and I can't tell you which one it was.
I read that you didn't want to have a wedding.
Right.
Is it because, again, you don't want the attention on yourself? Why didn't you want to have a wedding?
Yes, I could not have a wedding. I'm very, I think the idea of anyone being inconvenienced to get to me for whatever reason it is, if I host an event, for me, my birthday parties as a kid, I'm crying in most of the photos. I'm very uncomfortable with the idea of inconveniencing someone. Mm-hmm. And people say, well, we would have loved to be there. And I believe that, but I still can't do that.
Did you have a wedding?
No, we eloped.
Where did you elope?
Burlington, Vermont.
Did you love it?
Yeah, it was great. Mm-hmm. No one knew, just us, no attention. It was perfect.
Is he the same way? He must like a little bit of attention, but...
He's extremely introverted, whereas I really like people, but he's very shy as well. But he would have done it for me if I wanted one, but I didn't want one.
You guys have been together a really long time now. What do you think is like the cornerstone of what makes your relationship function and thrive and keeps the love alive?
Well, I think we have 3 amazing kids, and that's a great thing. I also, there's distance. Mm-hmm. His job is in D.C. I'm here. I think that creates good balance. And I think all the big picture things, we agree on, even if we disagree on little things.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And was it important for you to stay in Braddock? Because I know when he became lieutenant governor, there was an opportunity to move into a lieutenant governor's mansion. Why did you two decide not to?
It was never a question. I said I would never live in a taxpayer-funded mansion.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I would never move my kids for your job. And I always told him, like, your job is your job. Like, it's not my life. It's not the kids' lives. And I would never make that as part of their lives. Like, their lives are rich and full of activities and things. And their dad happens to be a senator, but that's like the ... way at the end. And I tell people, like, the fact that my husband's a senator is the least interesting thing about me. Mm-hmm. And I want it to be that way for them as well.
How has it been with the commute? Because when I was growing up, my dad would spend a week in D.C. and then come back on most weekends. Obviously, sometimes it couldn't happen if they were like voting or something crazy happened. And that was my normal. And when I got older, I realized that's unusual.
Yeah.
How have you been doing with the distance in recent?
That's our normal as well. It's okay. We keep really busy, and he has an important job to do, and it works just fine for us.
Do you like going to D.C.?
I go if there's something fun happening. I try not to go too often.
Do you like D.C.? My mother hated it. And it was very important for her that we were not raised in D.C., which is ironic that I'm now raising my kids in the D.C. area. I feel guilty about it all the time. But my mom it was really important to her that we stayed in Arizona. And I actually think part of my personality is the way it is because I wasn't raised in the Beltway. And I didn't really have a cogent understanding of my dad's job until I was much older.
Right. I think the D.C. area is beautiful. I think there's so much to do. And when we go there, we vacation there. Mm-hmm. I would never disrupt their lives for John's job or my life.
Do you have friends in D.C.?
I do have friends in DC, but my autonomy is really, really important to me. So for me, it's important to have these like separations in our work, in our lives. So I think it works really well.
Can you tell me a little bit? I really love the Free Store, which I know is your baby here in Braddock. Can you tell me a little bit about what inspired it, what you do for people that maybe don't know, and why it's this like beautiful jewel? I have a friend who's a journalist in Pennsylvania, and she said it's really an important and beautiful part of the community.
Thank you. It really is. We've been around for 14 years. And I wanted to create a space for all those things. Like, where do all those things go? Our children are outgrowing things constantly. You're getting something new. Those things still have great life in them, and they can bring people a lot of great joy. So for me, it was about creating a space where we had bread and flowers, where we can feed people if that's the need, but also we have items of joy and things that make their home beautiful, and uniforms for kids. I think every child deserves to have the best clothes when they go to school and feel confident in it. We have diapers, formula. Even at the height of the formula shortage in the country, we never ran out of formula. We were still able to provide families with formula. So we have this beautiful space run by volunteers. And we've seen babies grow up. We've seen babies become volunteers, and shoppers become donors, and this like lovely cycle of things.
How did you come up with the idea?
I think it was the curb shopping and thinking like, okay, I'm taking this piece of furniture home, but everything else is going to end up in a truck and get destroyed. And I just wanted this beautiful place where people can go, and it was colorful, and it had lovely signage, and there was no shame in the exchange. It was very dignified, where we don't need your social security records. We don't need to know anything about you other than we're here and we may have something you need and you're welcome to take it.
Do people volunteer to donate to it?
Right. We have a big team of volunteers. We have a long wait list, so we can't even take more volunteers. And then we partnered with wholesalers and stores and Costco and Whole Foods. And basically most brands, anything last season is being sent to a landfill. And instead of that happening, now it gets redirected to us, and we can give it to our families.
How often do you go there? I know you were just there before we
I was just
did this interview.
Yeah, so we're open 3 days a week. I try to be there as much as I can. Of course, if I travel, I miss a day, but my days are kind of built around the Free Store days.
People that come are obviously people that are in need, and people probably on a lower socioeconomic level. I'm sure you hear their stories. Do you think that things are getting worse for people in the country? Like, have you seen more people needing to come to the Free Store in recent times?
I think it's cyclical. Like during COVID, we were, I think, the busiest we've ever been. And during that time, we had donors who became shoppers. That was the first time I saw that.
Okay.
That was the first time I experienced that at the Free Store. But it's always changing. And I know who just had a baby. I know who just lost a job. I have this like running list. I know every child's diaper size in town. So we get to be there for folks in hard times, and they let us into these vulnerable spaces. And it's a real honor to be in that space.
Have you thought about expanding?
So my dream was that every community would open its version of it. I don't have the ambition to grow. I've been offered a building, and we operate out of a shipping container. I love a shipping container. So I don't want to personally grow, but I've helped about 14 other locations start
around the country.
Around the country.
What do you tell them when they want to open? Because I really love this concept, and I think, like you said, it brings so much dignity to people instead of just, they can come and shop and feel normal.
Right, and I think imagine shopping where you don't have to check the price tags, right? And every time we have a first timer, they're like, well, how much does this cost? And to say, no, it doesn't cost anything. And it's just beautiful. And for kids to not be concerned about prices too. At the Free Store, we're all exactly the same. Once money is removed from this equation, I think the circular economy is an economy that matters as well. And we were the first Free Store since the Free Stores of the 60s. Since that movement. So I really love mutual aid. I think we should look out for each other. And I think I get to see that at the Free Store every day.
Do you run out of inventory ever?
We've never run out of inventory.
Okay. That's wonderful. I saw, obviously the 4th of July just happened, and I saw that you guys were giving away 4th of July decorations and hats. And on the social media, it said it's important to celebrate holidays as well, which I also think, no matter your situation or station in life, I agree. It's important to be able to celebrate the 4th of July. Do you focus on things like that so people can celebrate?
Yeah, we do all holidays. We do a big Christmas event. We do Easter photos with the Easter Bunny, because at the mall they're like $60. And everyone should have a photo with the Easter Bunny or Santa. We do a big Halloween event, but we provide the costumes with partners that we work with so kids can have a costume and then trick or treat. Because everyone deserves to be a part of something.
Is there anything you want people to know if they want to somehow get involved in their own community with the free store?
Sure, they're welcome to reach out to us on our website. I'm happy to talk anyone through the steps, and maybe we'll do one together.
I'm very interested, but Gisele, I am not a businesswoman, like at all. Like I'm terrible my husband has to do it's really embarrassing, like everything related to that. But I really would love to do something. Like I said, I just think it's the most, when I was first doing research on it, I just think it's the most wonderful concept. And, there's a lot of pain in the world. And I think relieving it in a way that gives people dignity as well is so wonderful.
Right. And it's our joy in like someone brings someone in and someone needs it and that exchange happens. Like I love that. I get giddy every time that happens.
Do you think part of the reason you're so passionate about this is because, you did live in poverty? I know I read that you had to go to soup kitchens and, you lived in an entirely different way than you do now. Do you think that's what also inspires this?
No, I got to go to Disney. Like my mom cleaned houses, but she worked a ton in order for that. So I never felt that I was poor. You know what I mean? Like I knew my mom cleaned houses and worked in hotels, but she worked a lot to be able to give us those opportunities. But I saw what other families that we knew were going through and little things that could have made lives better for other people. And I think we all can do something. We don't all have to do everything, but we can all do something. And I think the free store does that, not only for the volunteers, but for the donors who are, passing something on. And some of us have too much and some of us have so little, and maybe we can meet at the middle.
What does your mom think of your life now?
I think my mom, loves me, and
she must be very proud.
Is supportive, and she's amazing. And I she taught me a lot of great lessons, and I'm grateful to have her perspective in life.
Do you see her every day?
I see her most every day.
I love that. I wish I saw my mom every day. Does she help with the kids and help with their,
Yeah, she helps with the free store. She drives around her big pickup truck and picks up donations, and she's amazing.
That's wonderful. Does she still work?
She works with me. You're
also a volunteer firefighter, which I honestly can't believe because I would be so scared to be a volunteer firefighter. I'm scared of fire. And I saw a clip on social media and you had volunteered and gone to a fire and someone was like, yes, Gisele Fetterman. And you're in your, outfit. Why did you decide? I don't know what it's called. I'm so sorry. The uniform, the fire uniform. I'm so sorry. That's so disrespectful to firefighters. What is it called? Correct me.
Cute. It's your bunker gear.
Bunker gear. I'm so sorry. I love firemen. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful to firemen. Bunker gear. I'm sorry. It looks heavy, by the way.
It is very heavy.
It looks like heavy to put on. And again, my image of firefighting is Backdraft, like that really intense movie where firefighters like die and stuff. Did you just wake up one day and you're like, I want to fight fires?
So it was a childhood dream I forgot about, but my mom has been downsizing, has been giving me all my childhood art that I don't want. She saved everything. Like if I drew on a napkin at a restaurant, she saved it for me. So she's giving this all back, and now I'm going through all that artwork, and I come across my lower school yearbook, and it had like, when I grew up, I want to be, and it was like all these ballerinas, all these doctors, and then a firefighter, and that was me. And I thought, oh my God, I never did that. So this is the time. And so I enlisted in the fire academy the next day.
How old are you? How long ago was it?
I was 39.
Okay.
I was the oldest person at the fire academy at the time. And I've been doing it for the last almost 4 years.
Tell me what it's like. Do you just get calls and you have to...
Yeah, I love it. It's right by my house. I work with an incredible team who is really generous with their knowledge and, really look out for each other. But I think firefighting, it's a really unique ethos in that, like, we don't care who's on the other side of that door. We're there to save you or help you on probably the worst day of your life. And I think there's very few professions like that today. And that mentality, like the fire service, like brotherhood, I think would really benefit us all. Like, we are going in to get you. We don't care who you voted for. We don't care what you believe. And the same for us. Like, we would die for each other and we trust each other with our lives. But you don't see that, many places.
What's the worst fire you've had to help put out?
We have probably 2 or 3 big fires a month, but we do a lot of the other things. So we do boat rescues. If someone is killed outside, we are called to wash the blood. We do
You've done
welfare
that?
checks. Oh yeah, I've done everything. All
You've
that.
washed blood.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Yeah,
And you're
by the
volunteering for
time
free.
We do it. It's already like starting to dry up. And I mean, it's very sad, of course. And I keep it together. And then I get home and cry.
Do you, I saw on your social media, their children sometimes, obviously, when you were called to places, do you ever like have to take care of children or help distract them from whatever has happened?
Yeah, I always have things in my pockets. I have like stickers, and we, our chief keeps plastic fire hats, like helmets in the engine that we can give to kids, because this is also a very scary moment for them. But almost every time there's kids, someone will say, "Oh, I didn't know girls could be firefighters."
Ah.
And that's my favorite part, because then I get to say, "We can, and you can too."
Do people recognize you?
Yes.
Is that weird?
Yes. But even like in my bunker gear, I don't have Fetterman. I have my maiden name just because of that.
So you think you'll keep doing it?
I will keep doing it as long as my back allows
As long
me
as you're
to.
physically capable of doing it. What do you want people to know about fire safety?
I want people to know that we all have a part in preventing fires, most cases, and that firefighters are there to help you. So if you see us coming, move out of the way. And that we need more volunteer firefighters. Most of Pennsylvania is run by volunteers. Even nationally, those numbers are declining. The newer generations, aren't really into firefighting as much as older generations are, but we really need them, and we're always recruiting. So if you think it's something that you'd want to do and commit to, then I'm sure there's a department close to you that could use your skills.
You have a lot of jobs and also mom on top of everything else. You're a mother of 3 children. Do you think you're going to take on any more jobs, or do you think this is it?
I don't know. I think this is good for me for now.
I want to talk about your book, obviously, Radical Tenderness, The Value of Vulnerability in an Often Unkind World. I found so much of what you were writing and saying in this book because you're emphasizing why we should keep our vulnerability, our tenderness, our humanity in an unkind world. And I had seen that you had said before that people are always telling you, because obviously, your husband's a politician, that you should grow a thicker skin, that you should be harsher, that you should be, someone who, isn't vulnerable, that that's a weakness. And you don't like that. Can you extrapolate?
Right. I think we reward like the wrong side, right? Because I think we're always asking, it's always that we need to change instead of addressing like why do we respond to things a certain way? Like, why doesn't that side need to change?
Yeah.
I just felt like it was a rebellion to not change.
Do you think, it's interesting because you're talking about tenderness and vulnerability and keeping your humanity. And obviously politics, especially in this era, brings out the exact opposite. In fact, I have found that politics and media, in my experience, can really bring out the worst in people and can really bring out the ugly side, the vicious side. How have you maintained this? Because it's pretty special to maintain your vulnerability given not only the world environment, but the political environment we're in.
Right. I think I can only control how I respond to things. And I like who I am and how I am. And I don't want to change it and let them win. I don't want to change who I am. And I think it's a rebellion to remain soft in a world that is trying to actively break you daily.
I read that you received more death threats than your husband, which made me extremely sad. And I know that you've had some very public run-ins with some people harassing you. I haven't had quite the same experience, but people have definitely harassed me in public and still do. And I am the opposite of you. I'm like, step back, swear, like, don't fuck with me. Like, well, I'm like, I think maybe I just different personality than you. I've just been around longer. I'm just more jaded. I don't know. But like, how do you maintain this? Because it really is, like, I think it's a real gift. I think it's something that we can all learn from, myself included. But how do you maintain this level of vulnerability and class in these kind of very intense situations?
No, I think I admire that you can do that. And I think parts of me, I wish I was.
Gisele, I can get real trashy. You don't want to be around it. Embarrass you and your family.
No, I wish I had some more of that in me, but I don't. And I think years of trying to be something that I wasn't, I just realized it's okay to be this way. And I think there's a lot of more of us out there, the soft people. But I think with either the world has broken us down or we're afraid to show that. But I think there's more of us out there. I can't be the only one who feels like this. I don't like conflict. I don't want to fight with anybody. I've never caused harm to anyone in my life. And I can't do it. I don't have it.
How do you teach your children to enact this in their life as well?
So I teach them that there's a lot of bad things that are going to happen, and they're going to see a lot of bad things. They're going to witness, they're going to hear them, and they can't control any of it, and they can't change any of that. But they are in full control of how they respond to these situations. And I try to remind them, like, that's the only thing you have power over. It's how you handle these situations, how you respond, what you say, what you do. Don't do things when you're angry. Go through the steps. And they're obviously all very different personalities. But I want them to at least hear my voice in these moments where, like, okay, how do I respond in this situation?
What inspired you to write this? Was it just your experience with trying to maintain tenderness in such an insane environment?
I think I needed a place to put all the tears. I wanted it to be called Most Likely to Cry, because I think, we hide that part of us, or it just goes away. And we're all born crying, right? And along the way, we learn to stop. But I never stopped.
I know. I love, you seem a little emotional now.
I'm always emotional.
I love it. I love it because it takes a lot for me to cry. But again, I'm the opposite, side of this. But is it just that, it is hard. Everything's hard. It's hard. Being in politics and being in this world, I think just being a human in today's world is hard. Is that why you think it's so important to spread this message to maintain your vulnerability? Because I do think everything would benefit more if we were all more vulnerable and kind to one another.
I think everything would be better. And I think we have such, walls up, and we immediately expect the worst out of people. We're immediately suspicious of someone who's kind or someone who comes off a different way. So I think we just are all going through life as full cups of water, or whatever they say, ready to explode at any time, because we just are waiting for the worst to happen. And what if we just expect for the best sometimes?
Can I ask you, one of the things about politics, at least in my experience, is it makes people love you and project things onto you that are too big for me, especially because since my dad has died, he's become this saint figure that is so far away from the foul-mouthed, intense man. And he was fun and crazy and all these things. And people have sort of turned my dad into this figure that isn't real. And then the other side of it is people just hate me projecting onto me. And I know you've certainly experienced both of those things. How do you deal with, people projecting onto you love or hate, no matter what, that doesn't come from any kind of real experience?
I remind myself that it's not personal, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably something they have going on. And I don't allow myself to carry something that's not mine to carry. I think everyone's lives comes with challenges or struggles, and those are for me to carry. But it's not for me to carry someone else's experience or feelings towards me. So I try to create those boundaries. I'm not good at other boundaries, but those boundaries I got really good at.
I'm an oversharer, and I'm not great with boundaries sometimes. Forever that.
No, I'm getting better at that. But if someone can ruin someone's whole day because they're in a bad mood, and I'm like, why would I allow that to affect me? It doesn't reflect on me. That reflects on the person. So it's constantly doing that work to remind myself that that's not. If someone comes up to me and yells at me at Target, it should not ruin my whole day, because it's not a reflection on me. Just like I talk about, people would say, oh, you're going to get taken advantage of. And I would say, well, why is that a bad thing? That's not a reflection on me.
Yes.
So I just remind myself of that.
Your husband was mayor, obviously, of Braddock when you met him. Did you know he had political ambitions besides that when you got together with him?
No, and I don't think he did. I think just like mayor, it was the conduit he found to do the work that he was doing. And it's just kind of happened, but I don't think he had a grand plan at any time.
I'm a really big fan of your husband's. I think he's very brave and very interesting in a time of boring cowards. Was it hard, to reach this next level when you decided to run for Senate, knowing A, you don't like politics, and B, you're a vulnerable, sensitive person. And, House of Cards is the stereotype of these, like, craven people that have been planning to be in politics forever is more the stereotype of people who make it in politics.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. But I also try to say, like, I can't carry what's not mine. Like, that's his choice. I can support him if that's what he wants to do. I wouldn't try to stop someone from wanting to do something, but I would never say, this is what I think you should do. I think you should run for Senate. That never would have been my idea for him.
Do you like campaigning?
I have liked campaigning at different times in my life. I don't think I like it anymore.
Okay. Do you like it less now, just after the experience of the past few years?
No, I just think I don't feel safe in a lot of spaces.
Okay.
So I did when I felt safer, but I think it's been a while since I really felt safe.
That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
It is, but I don't think it's unique to me, unfortunately. And when I talk about it, I try not to talk about it a lot, but when I do, it's either like, well, this is what you signed up for. This is what it is. Like, this is normal. Whereas, like, I still challenge that this isn't normal. This shouldn't be normal. But it's so normalized.
I also think just because someone is an elected official doesn't mean we can abuse them and make them feel unsafe. And, I can remember, people don't know this. I don't think the average person knows this, but, it's when you become a public official, people take shots at you, metaphorical shots at you in ways when you're out in public that I didn't even really realize it wasn't normal till I got older, for people to like yell at you or come up to you and be like, I love you, and take up your physical space. And that was something as I got older, and especially when I had kids, I was like, this is what we're not going to be doing, when I'm here. How do you deal?
I'm sorry that you thought that was...
I know it's weird, right? I mean, I'm very grateful for my childhood. I'm the original Nepo baby, so I can't, be too negative about it. But how do you deal when you go out in public and people are, coming up to you, good or bad? Because I did not love that.
The kids definitely don't enjoy that. And it's, we really can't go anywhere. So the kids they've shared their frustrations with me. They try to, like, if we're at the mall, they try to walk ahead or walk behind. We've learned different ways to cope. We know this is the reality. And when people are kind, that's lovely. It's not always the case. It mostly is. People are definitely better in person in most cases. And maybe towards him because he's giant.
6'9".
But the kids have learned to cope better ways. I talk to everyone who comes up and is kind to him or me. But it definitely is disruptive for the kids. Like, it's harder for them.
I told you before off camera that I don't really do interviews anymore because I find it a lot of times very dehumanizing. I think there's a lot of cruelty to so-called journalists now and how we talk to public figures. Again, I think just because you're a public figure doesn't mean we should treat anyone with a lack of humanity or respect. And I have certainly experienced it with my own family and my own life, having journalists say horrible things to me, to my face, and then writing horrible things. And I know you have been subjected to that, and your husband's been subjected to that. And there's a lot of commentary everywhere about you two as a couple. And I wanted to know if there's anything you wanted to clear up or tell me. And I can remember from my own experience, my parents were just subjected to holy hell all the time. And it's really painful. At least it was for me as the child. Is there anything you want to clear up about rumors or anything people are writing about or saying?
I mean, I try not to read anything, so I really don't pay attention to the noise. So I don't know what they're writing, but I don't really listen to it. And I think that's the only way to get through it is to not.
There's been unkind things said about your marriage. Is there anything you want to clear up about that?
No, I mean, I feel like Michelle Obama or, Hailey Bieber, every day it's a different story about them. And I just think, I don't know, I think journalists, even serious journalists now are just like going for the click.
Yeah.
What can I put out? And I don't play any part in that, and I don't pay attention to it.
How do you guard your kids from horrible things? Or do you just same thing, like tell them not to read it, tell them to stay away?
I mean, I don't want to tell them to I'd rather they don't read it, but I can't, stop them if they want to. But I mean, we experienced it firsthand when John checked himself in to read. When I got home, there were media trucks surrounding my entire house. They knew John wasn't there. They were looking for me. and I was in the
Did they
car.
yell at you?
No, because I went into the garage, but they were surrounding literally the whole outside of my house, national, local. And, you know, I am a private citizen, you know, like my husband is a public figure, but I am a private citizen. And journalists don't seem to really care.
When my dad was very sick with brain cancer and he was being treated at Walter Reed as well, I felt like there was a special kind of hell with my dad being very sick and treated for a very serious illness. And at the same time, lots of media speculation about his health and everything. It was just really one of the worst times of my entire life. Do you think the media has learned any lessons about, again, just treating people with respect and kindness and compassion? Because everybody goes through health issues in their life. You, I, your husband, anyone in this room is no different. Do you think the media has learned any lessons from that?
No.
No. Okay.
No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're rewarded by clicks and how many people read the article. And, you know, so I think it's rewarded. So the goal is to be more and more terrible.
People are very curious if your husband has any ambitions to run for president.
I mean, that's a question for him.
Fair.
But I certainly wouldn't be supportive of
Do you, it seems like you have no interest in running for office.
Never.
Yeah. Why do you think people always want to put that on you? I read your article in Elle magazine about like the stereotype of the powerful woman. Why do you think people
It
are
was so bizarre. I remember it was like I was carving to be the center. And I mean, I don't know. Again, it's clicks. You know, I have never told anyone in my entire life that I would run for office or had any desire to. You couldn't pay me to run for office, but that was the running news for months.
Also, same, by the way. Like,
It's so strange. I mean, I don't know. And now it makes me so, I feel for really famous people, like celebrities, because I think of all the things I've read about them. I don't believe anything now because it's probably not true either.
You're very modern. What do you want people to know about being a modern politician's wife? Because like I said, I really see you part of this new generational shift. And I love it because, again, I don't love the old generation and what they've been doing to DC. What do you want people to know about your
I think
role?
it's really important to respect people's autonomy. You know, you can, just because I'm married to someone doesn't mean I think like him or agree with him on everything. I mean, we're completely different people, and I'm not a proxy for him. And this is for regular people and journalists and people in the media. No spouse is a proxy for their husband or wife. And that's really important. And I speak to male senator spouses, and I'm like, are you treated like this?
Are they?
No, they're
Yeah. Do you have friends with other senators' spouses?
I do. Yes, I love most of them. I mean, all of them. We have great relationships. The spouse group is bipartisan. We have lunch together. We have a book club, and we all get along, and it's lovely and beautiful.
Does everyone sort of have the same grievances and problems?
I think they have different levels of it. I think because I'm on the younger side and was on social media, I'm trying to be less active. My dream is to be completely off it one day, but
I like your Instagram.
well, thank you.
I don't think you should get off it.
I want to get off. So I think it's a little harder for me, I think, in some cases. And other wives, of course, have different challenges as well. But I think, you know, social media doesn't make anything better. It makes it all worse.
Yeah, that's true. You know, you and your husband have been very open about his mental health. What do you want people who are going to watch this to know about how they can support someone who is maybe going through depression or having any kind of mental health issues? Because I think both of your openness has been very brave.
Well, I think that it's really common. It's especially very common after a stroke. And, you know, to talk about it in a way that let's celebrate someone getting help. You know, when my husband checked himself in, it was my son's 14th birthday. And I came home and I was like, guys, I have amazing news to share. And they're thinking we're going to go to Disney or something. And I'm like, Dad checked himself into the hospital. And they're like, wait, is this good news? And I said, yes, this is really brave. And he's taking care of himself. And I wanted to immediately shift their thinking because we should celebrate it. We love mourning when someone takes their life or ends their life, and we go through all the things we loved about them, but we never celebrate folks who are avoiding that and doing the work to get to a healthy mental state. So I think we should support each other. and that, everyone's going through something. And I think we forget that, or we forget people are real people, or they think because our family's in politics, we deserve it.
I think a lot of people suffer in silence too because they don't want to be open about it because, people are harsh and unkind, and it's really a tragedy. And like I said, I just think you guys are very brave to be so open. Can I switch gears a little bit and ask you about motherhood?
Sure.
You have 3 kids. Did you always want to be a mother?
I don't know. I don't know that I wanted to have children. I wanted to, I think, adopt originally. I just, but I love being a mom. But I don't think that was a dream initially.
I am pregnant, as everybody knows, with my 3rd child. Can you give me?
Glowing.
Thank you. Can you give me any advice from 2 to 3 kids?
I think 2 to 3 was easier. I think it allows you to let go more because we have no control over anything. Whereas in 2, you're trying to catch both of them. 3, it's impossible to catch all 3 of them. So I think it was the letting go made things better.
What is one weird but wonderful parenting tip you swear by? And that's a question my good friend wanted me to ask you.
Weird. Oh, so I lied. I used to lie to them a lot when they were little kids. Like, I used to tell them, this friend Juanita of mine who had one cigarette and dropped dead. Like, I used to tell her that.
Oh my gosh.
When they were 4 and 5. And so they would see someone smoke and they would say, Mom, Juanita. And I was like, I know, one cigarette dropped it. But they will never smoke a cigarette. All 3 of them are we never want to smoke. But when they got to 8, they were like, Mom, was Juanita real?
Did you tell the truth?
I did. I said, no, Juanita was not real, but it could have happened. I think, and now I'm obsessed with telling them the truth about everything, when John was in the hospital, whatever it is, I'm obsessed with making sure they have the truth. When they were little, I would tell stories like that.
How do they respond to the truth all the time? Because I know you've said you like being really honest with them, which I do the same thing, even though my kids are little.
Yeah, I think everyone deserves the truth. So I think there's a way to deliver it that's age appropriate, but I never want to promise them something that I can't deliver on. And I don't want them to think any one thing that goes wrong would debilitate them, that there is always another day to start over and we'll find a way forward. And I think that's a good skill to have for life. And I want them to have that.
What do you do to relax and for fun?
I fight fires. I'm an artist. I make mosaic art. I work in the garden. I keep very, very busy. I'm either completely overwhelmed, or if I have an hour of open time, I'm desperately bored. So I'd rather be completely overwhelmed.
If you don't mind, there are 2 questions from my audience for you.
Okay.
If you'd okay. The first one is from Kate from New York.
Hi, Gisele. I'm Kate from New York. Thank you so much for letting me ask this question. So I think it's really discouraging how America is so polarized and divided, and I would use the word angry today. And it just seems the divide grows day by day. And even though we talk a lot about diversity and how diversity is important, and diversity of basically all types of things, religion, ethnicity, geography, it seems that political diversity isn't welcomed in a lot of spaces. So I was wondering, how are you raising your children to get along with others who may have different political views?
What I tell my kids is, at the end of the day, you and I may differ politically on many things, but unless we talk to each other, we're never going to get to know other parts of us. Politics is one part. Our dietary needs are another part. What we like to consume on television. Who cares? It's all different, and it should be, but it all makes us special and different and interesting. And how boring would we be if we all like the same things? We would never challenge each other, right? And I tell my kids, at the end of the day, I am a person who wants to be loved, and you're a person who wants to be loved. And if we have nothing else in common in our lives, that is one thing that we have in common, and that's a good place to start. But if we're not willing to have conversations with folks who we think differently than us, or we know think differently than us, then how are we getting anywhere?
No, I totally agree. I wish that message was broader, and that's something that stays with me that I'm so worried about with my kids, is just how ugly and polarized the world is. The next question is from Colin from Florida.
What do you believe your role to be in your husband's job as a senator? you feel that you serve in a more advisory or supportive role?
I mean, I certainly not advisory, and I guess supportive in a way that he'd be supportive to my role only. I don't think because he's a senator, that's a different kind of job than my job running a nonprofit or, I don't want a role, I guess.
Is there anything else you want us to know about your wonderful book? And just like I said, I love the term radical tenderness. I think you should turn this into a series of some kind. I know you don't want any more attention, you want more dogs, but I think it's such a lovely concept, and I think the message is so important for young people in particular. Is there anything else you want us to know?
No, this was lovely. And like I said, it's important for us to sit with people who think differently than us.
I'm so happy you said yes because I'm a fan and I love strong women in general. And I don't think that we should live in a world where a Democrat and a Republican can't talk to each other. And I don't know. I just am so grateful for your time and think you're a really special person. And I know you don't like politics and I totally understand, but I'm happy that you are in politics because you have a really special and beautiful message. And I don't know. I just really appreciate the role you're filling in the country right now.
True. I'll share my 3 childhood best friends who I still talk to every single day. It was a Trump vote, a Bernie vote, and a Hillary supporter. And that's okay that we think differently and we challenge each other. And I would just challenge anyone to try, if you live in your bubble and you're happy in your bubble, challenge yourself. You might like someone who thinks differently than you, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And like I said, thank you so much for your time today. And your city is so beautiful. I've been to Pittsburgh a few times before, and it's just, Braddock is really lovely. I can see why you fell in love with it. And I can see it's mountainous and green.
It's
and
like Aspen, right?
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful here. And I can see why this community would be so special to you. So I really just want to thank you for your hospitality. You've been so wonderful to everyone. She's been the easiest subject I've ever had. You've been so kind to everyone. And I just am really grateful. And thank you for answering all my questions. And I really wish you all the best. And I would love to talk to you offline more about the free store.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.